that Libertarian got back to us.
Oh, he did?
Yep. He said available now, tonight, tomorrow, any day of the week.
Should we ask him to call right now?
I got to do Martin Bashir at 4, but yeah, tell him to call right now.
All right.
646-257-3920. You said now? Now's now. What's his name?
His name is Matt Digeronimo.
Calling Matt Digeronimo. You can get him at the mattdshow.com. Is this Matt? Is this Matt?
It is.
So, of the Matt D Show?
That's correct. Is
Okay.
this Sam?
Yes.
Hey, thanks for calling.
Anytime. Like I said on Twitter. What? Now, let's just clear this up so there's no misunderstanding. I mean, why were you making a big deal that I wasn't willing to debate you? As soon as you tweeted me, like within, I guess, 12 hours, I said yes.
Okay, hey, that's great. I mean, first off, there was tweets earlier in the week to you, and then there were things on your Facebook page. I was just trying to get your attention. We could focus on that, and look.
No, I don't want to focus on it. I just
it's fine. It's cleared up. You did tweet me back, but for the time, the only time that I was saying anything to my listeners to say, hey, go over to Sam's page and just put the pressure on him was when I hadn't gotten a response. So you are correct, and I don't want to make a big deal about it because I don't think that's the thing that we should be talking about.
All right. So what is it that we should be talking about?
Well, Sam, you're a bright guy, and you're witty, and you have very strong debate skills.
Thank you.
So I think
that
to differ. You who's that, Mike?
Yeah, that's Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, knows everybody on the
So
show.
when I've listened to you talk to libertarians, you've kind of stacked the deck a little bit because to defend libertarianism, it's a political philosophy which really only exists in classrooms. I mean, there are no absolutes in anything in our life.
Right.
And so now granted, there are a lot of libertarians who live in that classroom, and I cannot defend those absolutes. However, I think in fairness, there's a lot about the libertarian principles that we could bring to the table and add to the recipe, which I think would benefit us. So, for example, I cannot defend an absolute free market because it's indefensible. But that doesn't mean that all libertarians would have us have a stepwise jump in all policies. Like that's just silly. It's kind of like if you're comparing, I live in Honolulu, so it's like if I'm comparing which city is better, Honolulu or New York City, and then I'm making the point to somebody in Honolulu, so take like that represents the present situation, and I'm trying to discuss what the benefits of New York City are, it would be very easy to say, oh, but then I got to take my kids out of school, and the flight's going to cost so much, and how are we going to move all this stuff? So it's not fair to New York City to say, well, to focus on the transition that would be required rather than the journey.
Okay. So you want to talk about a specific issue?
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, and just so you know, first off, let me just say, I did tighten the screws because I really wanted to talk to you because you're a smart guy and I respect that. But I also think I don't think I'm the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm not the dullest either. And I do think that you're a little bit harsh on libertarians, and maybe there's a little bit of entertainment value to that because it's a difficult political philosophy to defend. But I kind of get a little bit offended, and that's fine. That's part of life. To this sort of like anti-libertarian thought process. Like I can't have a rational conversation with someone as soon as I say I'm a libertarian. Like it's very challenging. So, for example, I think.
Well, why do you have to define yourself as some ideology? I mean, why do you say I'm a libertarian in this?
That's a great point.
I mean,
and I'm looking for a new word.
Well, great. All right, but so let's talk about a specific issue that you have in mind. I mean, that I think, because, you want to talk about, I'm just going to your site right now. I'm looking. The Senate and Congress agree. Cut Social Security benefits 5% each year. Should we do that?
No. You got to. That's just a teaser. I think real inflation is closer to 8%. So the fact that Social Security raises 3% each year actually results in a net-wise loss of 5%.
Well, let's talk about Social Security. Do you think Social Security is a good idea? Should we increase benefits or should we cut benefits? Should we get rid of the program or should we? I mean, let's get down to something
so for
tangible.
the people, we've entered into a social contract with the people who are in the program. So I don't believe that cutting benefits is fair to them. And this is what I'm talking about, the transition.
What about for future people?
Well, for future people, I think, no, we have to relook at the system and either just cut it. Personally, I'd be for cutting it entirely.
Now, you would be for cutting Social Security entirely. So
that's correct.
Now, I'm going to ask you to justify this position, but I'm going to just tell you some facts, all right? And I just picked Social Security because it was the top of your popular thing. We could talk about any other issue you wanted to. And this doesn't necessarily have to do with your libertarianism or not, but we have a situation in this country where 50% of our seniors get nearly 100% of their income in retirement from Social Security. 2/3 of our seniors get over 50% of their income in retirement from Social Security. 401ks, which has been basically a 25-year experiment, have been a disaster. 40% of the population going into their retirement with zero savings. And then like another 30% going in with savings that are going to get that are going to go away within a couple of years. We know at the time of Social Security, we had 2/3 of our elderly living in poverty. So what is going to replace this, or should we just not replace it? And it's just, if you didn't save, then what? We just are elderly. What happens?
Well, I mean, fair enough. But a lot of what you're saying is an appeal to emotion, right? So
I'm stating facts. You tell me.
But look, you're very talented at what you do. So, but
you're very talented too. Now just be talented and tell me what we should do.
I'll answer the question. I'm just saying, you present it in such a way where it's like, now I'm going to be the bad guy. But the point is, it's a thing that you pay into. These people pay into a system. Okay, mathematically, it didn't work. So either lock 10 people in a room.
Wait, what do you mean mathematically it didn't work?
The system is bankrupt.
No. Okay. Well, you want to argue whether or not the system is bankrupt?
No. Okay. So
well, no,
I don't want
because
to get
this
into
is
that.
not.
Let's get
this
into
is a controversial point.
Hold on.
This is a controversial point.
We could throw numbers back and forth, but hold on. I think it's more interesting to talk about philosophically.
Well, no. I find it very interesting that you are basing this argument about Social Security on the notion that it's bankrupt, and that is a fundamental untruth. Let's get objective here, not emotional. Tell me what the definition of bankruptcy is. Tell me what the definition of an insolvency is. Tell me what the tell me what the numbers are.
It's a Ponzi scheme. It's been a Ponzi scheme. There's more. Just
been
think about it.
Ponzi scheme for how many years?
Say again?
How many years has it been a Ponzi scheme?
Since its inception.
Okay, so for the past 80 years, we've been living on a Ponzi scheme. But you realize that the definition of a Ponzi scheme means at one point there's no money. Now, unless every human being who works for a living in this country disappears, there's always going to be revenue. That even when the trust fund runs out in 2031, you're still going to be able to fund benefits up to 78% because of the revenue that's projected to come in. Now, unless you're saying
then Madoff should still be out on the street because he could get new investors. I mean, that's not fair. We're pulling money outside of the original pot.
What are you talking about? The original pot? There was no original pot.
The money
it
that
was
is
designed
paid into Social
for
Security
younger
does
people
not pay
to
for the
pay
benefit.
in to older people. That's exactly the way it was designed.
But wait, Sam, and I will tell you, I'm being caught off guard here a little bit because I don't have numbers in front of me, but we could get them. But hold on.
Yes, you want to get them?
I think you might find it more interesting.
I'm quoting the Social Security Administration trustee report. There are 3 levels in which they do projections. There's an A, B, and C. The A is extremely conservative. The B is moderate, though it's proven to be more conservative than reality in the past. And the C is the most liberal one. And I'm quoting the B one, which is what everybody talks about.
Fair enough.
These are facts.
Okay, fair enough. I will agree with all your numbers, just because I don't have them in front of me and you do.
Okay.
So let's just say
I don't
you're
have them in
right
front of me,
and
but I
I'm
know.
wrong. Okay, you're smart, I'm stupid, you're good looking, I'm not attractive. Can we move on?
Well, let's talk about Social Security. I'm still talking about Social
let's
Security.
talk about it philosophically. I think philosophically, it's a mistake to say, hey, we can't trust you with your money, so we'll hold on to it for you.
Well, let's talk about it practically. The 401k experiment has been a disaster.
I
In
agree,
fact, we
and that's
cannot
because of
trust people
government
with their money.
involvement.
We
That's
cannot
because
trust
of
people to
government
save for their
involvement.
own retirement.
What, people aren't. Do you need the government to help you plan for your retirement?
I certainly do. I'm very happy that I've got Social Security. That's
Why?
one thing that I can definitely count on, no matter
but
what happens.
You would
whether
have. You would have. That money came out of your paycheck.
That's
why,
right.
Why do you think that you're not? Why do you think you're not responsible enough to save that on your own?
Well, because I look at, statistically speaking, what has happened to 401ks, and they've been a disaster.
Why
I know
are you
what history
Why are you
was
comparing
before Social
Security to 401ks?
You are talking about some world in which it would be great if everybody was financially responsible, but the reality is, based on 100 years of data, is that they are not. Whether or not it's even a question of responsibility or whether or not they've had the money to save, the bottom line is they're not. That's the reality.
So people are not responsible enough to save their own money, but we'll give it. Are the people who are elected? They are responsible enough.
Social Security pays for 100% of retirement income for 50% of our population, over 60%
Sam,
for 2/3. So yes.
But Sam, if they save that money, they would be in the same situation. You'd say 50% or 100% of people.
They don't.
But
When they're
whose
faced
fault
with
is that?
financial catastrophe, they end up spending
So how
it.
about this? Why not make the system voluntary?
Because then it would destroy what we know about social insurance, which is that everybody has to be in it or the risk pool becomes ineffective.
Okay, so fundamentally, this goes to the core of. And first off, I have never made an extreme point. So I'm not saying the government
getting rid of
has
Social
no
Security
role.
is pretty extreme. I mean,
Well,
you're
hold
out
on.
of the mainstream. 80% of the population.
Hold on. Wait. Remember the discussion about the journey. Okay, so if you made me king for a day, I wouldn't destroy Social Security. But what I'm saying is maybe there's a better solution. I don't think the 401k is a better solution, but just fundamentally, what if I say I don't need the government to protect me? It's my money. Let me save it. Let me invest it how I want to. What's the problem with me saying that? You're saying
I've just told you about
the
the way that social insurance works. I mean, the fact of the matter is that you may not need it because you may die by age of 50. But the way that social insurance works is that we all pay in the event that we might.
But why? I mean,
because it works.
Fundamentally,
it produces better outcomes.
Didn't I earn it?
Yes.
So why is it being taken from me for my own good?
Because you're a member of society and you get benefits from society, and society imposes upon you certain dues, essentially, for the benefits that you get from society.
All right. Well, I mean, we're going to have to agree to disagree on Social Security because I think that the government is no better equipped. We're
well, all right,
basically
Matt, if
saying
you think the government's no better equipped, wait a second. If you think that the government coming in and mandating Social Security, taking 6.3% of your paycheck each week, is no better at making sure that money is there for your retirement than the people at large, how do you account for the data that says that you're wrong?
Wait, Sam, hold on. That money, that 6.3%, you're saying cumulatively represents their entire retirement income. And I'm saying if that's true, and they had saved that 6.3% somewhere else, the same would be true, just the money would be in a different pot.
Yeah, except for when it's not mandated. In other words, when you have a 401k, it doesn't work out that way.
But why are you comparing it to a 401k? I have not said 401k once.
Because there are two major vehicles for pensions that are not union defined or that are not union supplied or privately supplied?
First off, there are so many regulations on the 401k. In my opinion, it's a disaster because the government put their fingers in it. So I won't compare Social Security to 401k. What about investing in a small business? What about investing in their home?
How many people investing in their home? Are you aware of what happened in 2008?
No, Sam, I'm not. Can you tell me?
Are you serious?
Of course I'm not serious.
Oh, okay. I mean it's really, honestly, it sounds like a funny question to you, but I don't think it's.
But hold on.
Okay.
You're still. I mean, fundamentally, we have a government that runs a deficit and is in debt, and fundamentally, we're saying those people who have put us in that situation are more responsible for handling our retirement money than we would be ourselves.
Right.
And I disagree with that. And I fundamentally think, because if angels or gods were doing it, I'd be all in. I'd say, yeah, you know what, Sam, you're right. Cause
I'm just looking at the data, Matt. That's all.
No,
I'm just looking at what the outcomes are. I mean, I don't. We can have another debate about what's so debilitating about the debt deficit.
You're using the data in a disingenuous way.
How?
Because what you're saying is 100% of the retirement income comes from Social Security.
For 50% of the population, that is true. For 50% of the population, that is true.
Yeah, but Sam, that was their. You're comparing. You're not allowing me to compare that present situation with an alternative
reality that doesn't exist.
Yeah, but wait, come on. You're doing the debate thing here, which you're very good at, but slow down. You keep wanting to say, I'm just talking about facts. So let's stay on your facts.
Point out to me what I'm not talking about.
Stay on your
not
facts
factual.
And don't go into theory. Okay, if you're on facts, I'm saying it's disingenuous to say, well, they'd have no retirement because they paid that 6.3%. And I'm saying, had they had the opportunity to save that on their own, the facts might be the same or better.
But Matt, we can actually look at the real world in that experiment. And it is comparing
you're going to use
401k,
which is a government program which has been jacked up.
What do you mean jacked up?
There's so many regulations on the 401k that it's created a horrible retirement investment vehicle.
What would be a better vehicle?
Whatever somebody wants it to be. It's their money.
But I don't understand what it is about something that anybody wants it to be.
Why is there such an obsession with telling people they're not smart enough to do things?
Well, no, wait a second. So you're saying, so what is it that we would get rid of in 401ks that would make them a better vehicle? I mean, if you're making this statement, surely you must have something in mind.
Oh, well, I mean, there's all types of things. You cannot trade in a 401k the way you could trade in your own investment account. Like you can't day trade in it, you can't swing trade in it.
So you're suggesting to me that if people were allowed to day trade with their 401k.
No, come on, Sam, don't do that to me.
Well, Matt, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm somehow offending your sensibilities to actually tease out the reality of what you're saying. But you're talking.
No. Hold on, because you're jumping on the one thing that I said. What I'm saying is,
that's the only thing you said.
Whatever they want to do. There's people who make successful livings day trading.
Sure, but there's a lot more who lose.
But that's up to them.
Okay, so you're not even making. So let's be clear here, Matt. Matt, let's be clear. All right, listen. Let's be clear here. All right, because and then we got to jump. But I'm happy to do this, really every day for the rest of my life. But let's to the people who lose. Okay, because here's the problem: is that you're making a philosophical argument because you don't want to talk about specific data, and that's fine.
Oh,
you're making a philosophical.
Sam. You know what? Don't do that. If you want to talk to me like a man, okay?
All right, you don't want to talk about specific data, buddy.
Wait a second. I don't know I don't even know what that means. But listen.
Well, I do, and you know what? People who are listening do. I've asked you several times. Don't play this slimy role with me, okay?
Don't talk about facts.
The data. talk about the data.
I talked about the
don't
data,
say-
but you
yeah,
don't
but
want to
you
talk
said I
about
don't
the
wanna
data.
talk
You want to
about the
talk about
data.
an alternate reality where you have no data. That's fine. So let me ask you,
You know
this.
what,
So you're
Sam?
making
I'll tell you something. I wish we were face to face because you would not. This is part of the problem. Okay, people like you think that you can just sleaze your way through and make everyone else feel like an idiot. I'm saying right up front, I don't have all the answers, and I could probably learn something from you. But you know what your attitude is? You have all the answers. Everyone's an idiot. You're smart, and you are arrogant in everything that you say. Why can't you drop your guard and just talk to me?
All right, listen, Matt. Listen, I will just talk to you, but the reality is that you are making a generalization about the way that I deal with people based upon this conversation I'm having with you and your idea to scrap Social Security and replace it with, and I'm just saying what you said, day trading. Non-regulated investment strategy.
Come on.
Well, I'm just repeating, Matt. I'm not responsible for what you bring to this conversation. Now I'm going to talk to you. Hold on for a second. You want me to talk to you like a man? Wait, you want me to talk to you like a man? I'll talk to you like a man. Grow up. And when you got something to say to me, bring it. Bring it.
Would any reasonable person say, I suggested replace Social Security with day trading? Would any reasonable person?
You just said.
That's because that's what you said,
just
buddy.
said. I asked you.
I gave an example of what you could do.
Okay, or housing.
401k.
That's one of the examples. I
Or
don't know
your
what
house.
the others are because you didn't
I did
present
not-
them.
you know,
I'm only
no,
going to hold you to what
no.
you say, Matt.
Well, okay, then take
You're
it
not a
back.
child. I'm
We
not
were
here to
not
help
talking
you
about
with
Social
your
Security.
homework.
We were talking about a 401k. We were not talking about Social Security. We were talking about 401k. So for you to say I said replace Social Security with an investment
Well, you're
vehicle
saying
that
get
I
rid
say
of.
we should
You're saying
scrap,
get rid of Social Security, and then we could have private investments. And I said to you, "What's wrong with the 401k?" And you said because you can't day trade in it.
Well, no, I did. Okay, you know what? Come on. You know in your heart of hearts.
All right, what happens to the people who lose? What happens to now, Matt? Can we both agree that in this world where you have this financial vehicle that people use for their savings, there are winners and losers? Correct?
In investments, there are winners and losers.
Okay.
Correct.
What happens to the losers?
They lose the money that they invested.
And when they go into retirement and they have no money, what happens?
They look to their friends and their families.
Okay. And so you think that should be
They're all losers.
well, I mean, you're betting that their friends and their families are going to be winners too, but I mean, presumably
So what about when you're 30 years old and you lose all your money? What happens then?
Social Security saves you.
What saves you?
Social Security.
When you're 30 years old?
Oh, when you're 30 years old, you have time. You don't have the same responsibilities. You can jump back into the workforce. But when you're 55 years old, the idea of jumping back into the workforce is much more difficult. When you're 65, it's near darn impossible.
You're all the government's doing is giving you back your money.
Yeah.
Like these aren't kindergartners; these are adults.
All right. So what do we do with the losers?
That's up to them. Why would you think that anyone is smart enough or more responsible than another person?
Because of the data.
What data?
I've told you.
No,
I've told
but
you
you
the
keep
data on
saying-
401ks. I've told you the data on Social Security.
Stop.
I've told you the data
stop.
before
Take
Social
401k
Security.
off the plate. Take it off the plate because I don't think it's a good investment vehicle. So compare Social Security.
Or
You don't
housing.
have data. You do not have data on how people invest their own money. You can't compare the two.
We have absolutely an enormous amount of data on this. I mean, I'm asking you, what happens to the loser? Now, we know so you're saying everybody across the board is going to invest this 6.2% of their paycheck through the years. What happens to the people who don't?
I don't
They
know.
just spend it.
That's not up to me, and it's not up to you.
Well, no. But the point is, we're having an argument about what government policy should or should not be.
Right,
And,
and I'm just saying
to
that
deal with
just stay out
that,
of
we
it.
have to
Just
stay
stay
with the
out of
reality.
it.
See, you just have a philosophy that the outcomes of which are irrelevant to your argument.
No, whoa, back that up. Explain that.
You are saying what happens to them is what happens to them. If they lose, it's their problem. But I'm suggesting to you that, in fact, if we have hundreds of thousands of millions of seniors who have no retirement income, who have no ability to pay for themselves. This is going to be a problem that's going to be all of our problems, just like it was in the days before Social Security and why Social Security came about. We're going to be living with elderly people who are going to be dying in their homes. They're going to be dying on the streets. They're going to be dragging down the economic fortunes of their kids if they have to borrow from them, if they're in a position to do so. I mean, and this is a problem for society, but you have no answer for that because for you it's irrelevant.
I do, and you're talking. If I let you keep talking, you'd say the zombies are going to come and eat everyone.
Well, no, I don't think. I don't think the idea of old people dying because they don't have Social Security is a fantasy.
Let's just keep it very simple.
It's the reality.
I go to work. I put in an hour's worth of work. They give me $10. Why can't I keep that?
I don't know.
Do with it what I wish.
Where do you go into work? On the radio?
I went to the deli, and I put an hour's worth of work. They give me $10.
You go to the deli?
I work at the deli.
Yeah,
and I work for an hour.
When your customers come in, how do they know if they're not going to get food poisoning from your roast beef that you're cutting? Come on.
You
ask me why you got to pay your money?
I'm not
because we belong to a society, and everything that you do, Matt, is a function of that society working because of taxes.
So yes, the government, there are certain things. So the answer to the question, if it was posed to me, would say, no, you cannot keep those $10.
That's right.
Because you do enjoy public services.
Correct.
So we need to take a portion of that money back.
Correct.
Say, okay, what portion? Who decides what portion?
Our government elected officials.
Fair enough. And then what controls what the government can and cannot do?
Our ability to vote for them and to politically agitate.
Okay, so as long as they're voted in by a majority, that group who was voted in can now decide what to do or how much to collect in taxes.
Yes.
Okay, so you just described Egypt because majority does not rule in America.
Wait, what?
Majority does not rule in America. Never has, never will.
I'm not sure.
Do you agree with that?
I'm not sure I even understand what you're talking about. You asked me if we elect representatives.
What I'm saying is we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. So the people who are voted in cannot just decide what to do. They're limited.
I said that they vote for representatives who make policy.
Yeah, but they have rules too. And you made it sound like as long as they're elected in by the majority, they can do what they wish.
Well, I mean, not that they wish. They set tax policy.
But based on what? Do they have rules?
Well, there's the Constitution.
That's right. There's the Constitution that says what the government can do. It doesn't say what the government can't do. It says what the government can do.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily accurate, but what's your point?
Well, it's 100% true. In fact, did you know that a lot of the Founding Fathers didn't want the Bill of Rights in the Constitution?
Yeah. I know that a lot of Founding Fathers also had slaves. What's the difference?
Oh, come on. You know, that's the kind of crap I'm talking about.
What? No, you know what? Look.
You're a funny guy. You're a funny guy.
I'm out of
time.
Listen, Matt, but I promise you, we will do this. Maybe we'll even do this as a regular feature because I enjoy it quite a bit. I am happy to go on your show anytime you want, but I would definitely will have you back on this program because I enjoyed it quite a bit.
All right, take it easy.
All right, thanks. That's the Matt from the Matt D Show. I mean, they extended the show in half an hour to talk to the guy.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. If you're gonna do all this stuff with facts, it's just not really, it's cheap.
I want to know what it means to talk to somebody as a man.
I told you.
All right, should we just
giving you facts about the Social Security Trust Fund, brah?
Yo, bro.